you're coming here for some shows.
Yeah, I fly in on May 12th, actually. And I have a couple of shows in Townsville. I'm doing a few things for the North Queensland Cowboys. And then playing a headline show in Townsville, and then Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane.
Right. It's funny you say you're doing something for the Cowboys and your song is called Cowboys Evolution. Was there a connection with writing that track, or did they pick up on that?
No, it was written especially for them, actually. I was a huge Cowboys fan, always have been. You know, I grew up with them. I grew up born and bred in Townsville. So I was there when they came into the NRL. And you're in Victoria or New South Wales?
Victoria.
Okay. Do you even support rugby league?
No.
Well, I like a huge supporter, and ever since I've even been in America, I subscribe to Fox Soccer to go over here and watch all the games every week, and I never miss them. And I was on tour last year, and we're in Sacramento, and I was backstage, watching the game, and for whatever reason, I was extra pumped for this game. I think the Cowboys had just started to turn around their season, and anyway, the current theme song came on, and it was a great theme song. They've had it for 20 years or something, but it was written by Lee Kernaghan, and it was kind of deflating, and in that moment, I was just like, they need something a little more rocking. So, I got on the email and I emailed the Cowboys. I'm like, this is Andy Cole, you don't know me, but I'm over in America playing music. I'd really like to have a crack at writing you guys a song. And, I sent the email and then pulled out my iPad and wrote it on the spot. And they loved it, and they gave me a budget for it. And, it all worked out. That kind of made all of this whole bringing my music back to Australia thing possible. It's really hard for bands and artists to get down there from here. There's Soundwave Festival and stuff, but it's really a huge undertaking. And, I'm eternally grateful to the football team and very proud to have been able to contribute something to the club,
Definitely. Well, you've packed up and moved to America to make it happen. So why the decision to move to America instead of like maybe Sydney or Melbourne?
I think more to do with my musical influences. I grew up listening to a lot of bands like, Marilyn Manson and Korn and all of those bands from like the new metal era. And, when I really thought about it, I just thought it would be better if I'm going to give this a crack, to just kind of immerse myself in the environment where all of that music came from. I just thought it would be, I could relate to it more, and I dabbled in Brisbane and Sydney, on vacations and met people and spoken to people. And it just, just the allure of Los Angeles was too great. And the thing that really sealed it for me was, I don't know if you remember when Avenged Sevenfold first came out, but, I was kind of excited about them just because I hadn't heard a guitar solo in almost 10 years. And they came out with this song Backcountry, just guitars, dueling guitars, roaring, and a couple of buddies and I flew down to Brisbane when they toured, and I went to the show and was just completely knocked on my butt by how fantastic they were. And that night I turned to my buddy Wilco and Doc, and I was just like, hey man, if this is the standard of music coming out of Orange County, California, then that's where I want to be. And a year later, there I was. I was just excited by the opportunity, I guess.
And so how long were you there? It was Static. Oh, no, actually you joined the band Dope before you got onto the Static X, didn't you?
No, I played in the band out of Orange County called Neo Geo, and it was just a small kind of startup band, and actually grew to something kind of big. We did 3 Warped Tours, and then the opportunity for Static X came up in 2012. So I joined Static X, and, later that year, before the next record cycle, Wayne dissolved the name just due to legal issues and decided to become just Wayne Static, and, kept me on as his bass guitarist, which I was, grateful for. But last year, Wayne Static did the Wisconsin Death Trip tour. And it was the 15th anniversary of the Static X record, Wisconsin Death Trip. So we went out and we played it start to finish. And the second leg of that tour, Dope, actually came on the tour package. And I just became really good friends with Edsel. And, after the tour, when we both got back to Los Angeles, we hung out and stuff. And for whatever reason, his bass player wasn't available to tour at the end of last year. So I got to go out and do some, a handful of dates with Dope, which was awesome too. I really... I had a great time. They'll kick ass.
Yeah, and one of the early things you did actually get onto was joining We Are The Riot, which has two members from Coal Chamber in it.
Yeah, that's right.
How surreal is it when you actually go there and you end up in a band like that?
Well, the crazy thing about that, and this is Los Angeles, is that sometimes you just don't realize, who you're talking to, or kind of take for granted the people that you have access to. And, there was a night I was out in Hollywood, and, we're actually outside the Viper Room just talking to some friends, and a limo pulled up, and my friends were like, hey, dude, this limo just pulled up. They want us to jump in and go back to this party. And I was driving, so I was like, yeah, dude, you guys jump in, text me the address, I'll see you all over there. And I went over there, and anyway, it was a very small little get together. The club shut at 2 a.m. over here at the bars and stuff, so often end up back at somebody's house or somebody's apartment, and just carry on there. And I was out on the balcony just talking to this little unassuming Mexican guy in a hoodie, and we're just making fun of each other's accents, and I guess my Australian accent was a little thicker back then. And anyway, he went back inside, and there was another Australian girl at this little get together, and she come out a few minutes later, and she said, have you ever heard of the band Chamber? I was like, no, who is Chamber? And she goes, oh, okay, I guess that's the guitarist from Chamber, the guy who I was just talking to. And I peered in, and I kind of recognized him because I knew Coal Chamber from, when I was growing up. And I went back in, and I said, dude, are you Meigs from Coal Chamber? And he was like, yeah, dude. And I was just like, man, it's so great to meet you, and this and that. We kind of hit it off, and same sort of thing, He actually wasn't playing music at the time. Coal Chamber went out in a blaze of glory, and, both him and Mikey had pretty much quit playing music. And anyway, him and I just become really good friends, and Meigs actually joined Neo Geo for, about 6 months. And when he left that band, he started We Are The Riot and asked me to play bass for it. So it's a long, convoluted story, but that's how We Are The Riot came about. And, the band is still going. We just recorded a couple of new songs at the end of last year, and we're just waiting until the guys are done with their current Coal Chamber commitments before we really push anything out. And it's been very fortuitous too, because it kind of gave me the opportunity to do this Andy the Kid record. And but I love the band. Those boys are my brothers, and I really do love We Are The Riot. I think it has a lot to offer, and I'm excited for people to hear it.
I agree with you on that. You are a bass player, and you do have like this single Cowboys Evolution has Toby Rand doing the vocals on it. So do all the tracks have guest vocalists?
Yes, they do. And it's one of those things too, is when I wrote this song, this was like one of the Cowboys Evolution song was the first song that I'd really written. I've been writing music for years, but it's the first song that I've ever written top to bottom, down to lyric and melody. And I took a lot of confidence away from that. And, I asked Toby to sing on the song just because I really feel like, because it was written for an Australian crowd, I really felt like it needed to be enunciated right. And, there are a few words that are sung differently between Australians and Americans. And also, too, given the demographic of Townsville, they really like that old school Aussie rock. And I think Toby encompasses everything that is Australian rock and roll. In his voice, I hear Bon Scott in him, and Angry Anderson, and I hear all of those guys in Toby. So Toby had actually auditioned for We Are The Riot years before, and it just didn't work out, and that's how I came to know him. So it was kind of a no-brainer when I was thinking of people to sing, and he was all about it. He's a Melbourne Storm fan, of course, but he was great, and able to to put that aside to sing the song. But I'm not a singer. And, it's one of those things that as a bass player, I don't feel like you can go through life relying on other people and be punished for not being able to sing, So I just wrote a collection of songs and collaborated with some of my favorite singers and, friends. They're all friends. And, I'm excited for people to hear the EP. There's some really fantastic singers on there. I got Chris Hall from Stabbing Westward to sing on a song, and there's a band over here called Gemini Syndrome who have been kicking ass for the last 3 years, and Aaron Nordstrom is on a song. And I actually I played in a band back in Townsville back in the day called Maryland's Traffic, and Heath now lives in Sydney, the singer of that band, and he actually flew all the way over here to sing on a song, just for nostalgia, which was great. So yeah, different singers, there's definitely a consistent vibe through the record just because it was written by me. But I think the different styles and, the different little nuances that each singer has kind of gives the record a nice amount of variety and, keeps it interesting.
And the first taste that we have had off of it, as you said, this is written specifically for a rugby league theme song, and you've written all the lyrics, everything else on the EP, but what sort of stuff do you write about in lyrics?
You know, I have to say that it's been a very tumultuous couple of years for me. Obviously not going to go into detail, but writing this record was a very cathartic experience for me. You know, just able to get a lot of feelings and a lot of things onto paper and out. You know, it was a very healing process. And, you know, that's the thing too. It's kind of a bit selfish, you know, but I never really wrote these songs or planned on releasing this record for any other purpose but that, you know. But personal experience, and I also collaborated with the other singers, so, you know, it wasn't 100% me, but there was definitely a theme discussed back and forth, you know, that theme of having loved and lost and empowerment and, you know, all of those really great things that happen in life. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be able to relate to a lot of things that are going on, you know.
Yeah, I'm just looking actually. The 22nd of May is going to be like your first solo Australian show in Townsville.
It is. It's going to be the first headline. I mean, the week before, we're actually playing halftime at the Cowboys and Broncos game. And the following night, Cowboys and Broncos have a big gala ball that they have every year for this game. And we're playing there. So we'll have a couple of shows under our belt, but it'll be the first Andy the Kid headline, you know, here it is. And, you know, it's good too because I'm including a couple of We Are The Riot songs. Originally, Jimmy Trigger from We Are The Riot was actually supposed to be coming over and singing on this tour, and just as things worked out, he wasn't available to do that. But there's a couple of We Are The Riot songs in the set, and I'm also playing a couple of Static X songs just as a tribute to Wayne. And, you know, so it's going to be kind of an eclectic blend of songs, you know, because I don't think that the Cowboys song is all you've heard off the record. I don't think it's a true indication of the record. It's a lot more modern than that would suggest. So I'm excited for everybody to hear it.
Yeah, and you are actually andythekid.com is your website, and the single Cowboy Evolution is available now. When exactly is the EP released?
May 5th is the date, and I'm also releasing a video that same day. One of the songs on the record, I covered Pendulum's The Island, which I'm, again, really excited about. I love Pendulum. I really wanted to have an Australian cover on there, and, you know, I just think Pendulum were, I don't know, they were just a godsend of music. I really have so much respect for the songwriting and the way they layer music, and, you know, I think they wrote the perfect song. I'm excited for everybody to hear what I did with it, you know. So
awesome. As I mentioned, the 22nd of May you are in Townsville, and then you'll be at the front bar of the SB on Thursday the 28th of May.
I've never been to Melbourne.
Oh, really?
This is my first time, and I know, crazy, how could you be an artist and in music and never been to Melbourne? But, you know, people from Townsville will be able to relate that, you know, even getting to Brisbane and Sydney is such a huge undertaking. And again, when I lived in Australia, they didn't have budget airlines. You know, getting to Melbourne for even a concert was just not at all a possibility. So I'm extremely excited. We're flying in a couple of days before the show just so I can actually spend some time there and actually look around Melbourne and get a feel for it. But I'm very, very excited.
And once again, I'll tell people, andythekid.com, you've got everything you need there. And you are Andy the Kid on Facebook, of course. And it's an exciting year for you because not only your first solo release and getting to come back home for your first headlining shows, but then later in the year you do have the We Are The Riot release coming out as well.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully some touring to support that as well. You know, with the boys touring with Coal Chamber and with me doing my own thing, I really hope that it helps to build a profile for the band in Australia. I really think Australia would love it. You know, I'm confident that they're going to love Andy the Kid. You know, I'm confident that they would love We Are The Riot. I'm very proud of Australia. I'm very proud to be Australian. And I think we support music like nobody else. And, you know, that's why I've been so desperate for years. You know, I begged Wayne for years and years and years to take Wayne Static down to Australia, and it was just such a huge undertaking, you know, and it just never came to fruition. So again, I'm stoked, completely stoked to be coming home.
See, when you say stoked, you sound like an Aussie.
Yeah, it comes and goes, you know.
That's because you're talking to Australians at the moment. It's starting to slip out.
It's just a survival technique. Otherwise, you drive yourself crazy over here.
Yeah, this is probably the first chance that you've had to do interviews with Australia since you went to America and with everything you've done.
Yeah, I this is actually the first interview that I've done in Australia. I got some other press coming up here and there, but when we released the Cowboys song back in February, I actually did a video interview which was sent over to the Cowboys, and that's where a lot of the press got the information, so I didn't actually have to physically do the interviews, which was fun and weird at the same time, but it's what they wanted. So, it's cool. I appreciate you having me on your show, and again,
anytime. But the reason I brought that up is because this is your first chance to tell the Australian audience something that you would like them to know about you or your music or your shows that are coming up. What would you like to say to the Australian audience?
I think Australia is really going to warm to the sound. It's very modern, it's very progressive. I've really tried to pull out all the stops. I'm a very proud Australian musician, and I don't profess to be anything but that. I think people coming to the shows just know that, I've represented our country well, I feel, and that, this is all just flying the flag. So, I'm extremely excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too to see you play and to hear the rest of the EP when it is. What's the EP actually titled?
The EP is titled Linchpin.
Very exciting. And just everything you're doing. I mean, I just really admire the fact that you had a dream and you've gone there and you're making it happen.
Well, it is possible. And I hope that, I can inspire others to do the same, because the world isn't as big as it used to be. And Los Angeles is just a plane flight away. And, it seems like such a big thing. And I definitely encourage anybody who plans on doing the same to get all your ducks in a row, visa-wise and work-wise. Like, it's definitely worth being prepared and planning well to get here, because, America doesn't have the socialized infrastructure that we have in Australia. Like, if you come over here without a job and without accommodation stuff, it's going to make things very, very difficult for you. But definitely just do it. If it's something that is on your bucket list, don't be scared. It's definitely possible. I really encourage everybody to do it, and reach out to me too, because I'm happy to be a resource for anybody, any Australian musician who wants to come over and give it a crack. If you're prepared to do it, I actually met a kid whose Filter just went out and did a tour of America with Coal Chamber, and Filter just hired this Australian drummer. His name's Chris Reeve from Perth. So I connected with him recently, and so it's good to see some Aussies over here really making inroads into the industry.
Yeah. AndyTheKid.com. Can I ask, actually, you said that the guy from We Are The Riot was meant to come and sing with you. If he's not, who is?
My good friend from Nashville, Benjamin Hatch.
Right.
Hatch is an amazing songwriter and amazing producer. And I don't know if you've heard any We Are The Riot, but our little EP that we put out for the tour last year, Hatch actually produced that. And again, just one of the best singers I've ever heard. And when Jimmy fell through, I called up Hatch. I'm like, hey, man, how'd you feel about a free vacation to Australia? And he was all about it. And, I appeared in a video for one of Hatch's old bands a few years ago. And ever since then, have been trying desperately to do a project with him. So he's got his work cut out for him, because the singing Static X songs and stuff, it's no joke. Like, it's an art form, but I'm confident that he's gonna kill it and do a really great job. So yeah, I'm excited. Yeah,
it's going to be an exciting time for you, and really look forward to seeing it. And you're starting and finishing in Queensland, which I'm sure is going to make your mother very happy.
Yes, you know what? The last show is actually on my birthday in Brisbane. So, I'm planning on sitting back and having a couple of drinks after that one, and then going to visit my nana, just because my mum grew up in Brisbane. So I have a fair bit of family there, and I'm very stoked.
It has been really great talking to you, and people can find you at AndyTheKid.com, and I really look forward to seeing you just in a few weeks.
For sure. It's going to be great.
Thank you very much.
All right, Kat, no worries. Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.